Hi, I'm Beth. I'm your RUSU President for 2023, and during our Let's Get Consensual campaign, we asked you to give us your burning questions about sex, consent, and relationships. And today we have got Laura Miano to answer those questions.
Hi, I'm Laura Miano. I'm a sexologist and I'm the founder of sex toy concept store Posmo.
The next question is kind of one of my favourites because it's a huge kind of conversation topic, especially in groups of people after a few glasses of wine or drinks especially. But I guess a lot of vulva owners as well have experiences where they haven't orgasmed and they've never kind of experienced that or finished. And I guess the question that a lot of people are asking as well is what can they do differently to kind of experience that orgasmic moment or finish as well?
Yeah. I mean, this is something that I treat in therapy, and every person's reason for not being able to orgasm will vary. So, you know, if one specific person is asking how can they orgasm if they haven't before, I really would need like a lot more detail, because in my therapy sessions, I do a full intake session, maybe sometimes even two, but we'll usually kind of delve into, you know, can they pursue pleasure? Are they aware of where pleasure is in their body? Can they feel it? Or do they feel kind of numb if they're doing something like masturbating? And then on the topic of masturbating, do they masturbate, or what are their feelings towards masturbation? Do they hold any shame towards doing it? I would also kind of ask how they masturbate. You know, are they doing it kind of really quickly? Are they expecting to feel super aroused after 30 seconds or a minute of stimulation? Are they putting the vibrator on super high, super quickly? Are there kind of external factors, like maybe they don't have a lock on their door, maybe they can hear their roommates or family in the next room, there's distractions. So yeah, I would kind of ask a whole bunch of questions to understand what might be causing this person to not be able to orgasm. On a, just in terms of kind of like some basic advice, I would say trying something like a guided masturbation like activity can be a really great way to kind of let go of some of the responsibility of having to masturbate kind of like yourself to an orgasm, because sometimes that can be a bit stressful. Yeah. Sometimes it can be, you're worrying about how you're pleasuring yourself, and then you're worrying about how you can't feel anything, and then the whole thing is just a bit too much. So yeah, a guided masturbation will kind of like guide you through, doing like full body touching, and then you'll kind of slowly go until you get to your vulva. And then they'll kind of, again, coach you through how to touch yourself. So firstly, you don't have the responsibility, but secondly, they're actually guiding you through like a far more full-bodied experience. So you're going to be more aroused because of that. So something like that, the Karma app, KMA, has a really good, they've actually got 3 guided masturbation meditations. So I could recommend that one. One other thing I would say is allow yourself to be not as aroused as you want to be. That'd be my 2 top pieces of advice. Yeah. What do you mean by that? Sorry. Because what usually happens is people are getting aroused, they want to orgasm, so they start to really focus on the orgasm. They start to want themselves to be more aroused than what they are. Gotcha. That in itself becomes frustrating, it can be stressful. It means that you're thinking, I want to orgasm, rather than actually just focusing on the feeling, which is, those thoughts would be more like, this feels amazing, I'm loving this is great. So your mind starts to go to, I want to orgasm. That in itself is not arousing, it's not an arousing mindset. So if you can accept that you're feeling less aroused than you want to be, it allows you to be more present and feel more of the experience. So yeah, that's kind of what I mean by accepting more arousal.
I think, we've spoken a little bit, I guess, around masturbation. I'm curious to know, when it comes to having, like, finishing as well, and you're with a partner, do you have any recommendations within that kind of dynamic as well? Like, I guess, because usually, I guess, within a partner relationship, sometimes it can be that that's the end goal for both, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But I guess how to kind of navigate if that's what people are seeking in that kind of sexual interaction as well.
Yeah. When it comes to solo sex, not achieving an orgasm in that realm, it can be a little bit different with partnered sex, in the sense I would be asking, can they communicate to their partner? Can they communicate what they like? And do they just do it once and then kind of shy away from the conversation and hope their partner like does everything the right way? Or is it an ongoing conversation? Do they say, hey, when you go down on me, can you maybe do it a little bit longer, a little bit softer? And then when it's actually happening, say, hey, that feels really good, but maybe a little bit more like this. And if they try it, but it's not quite right, can they speak up again? Yeah. That's really like how sexual communication is done well, I guess, or it's done, to achieve what you wanted to achieve. So I would be asking someone, can they do that? I would also be interested to know if they feel a little bit vulnerable at the idea of orgasming with a partner, because, when you do orgasm, you kind of have an altered state of consciousness, you're not completely like aware of your surroundings and things like that. So I would be asking, do they feel comfortable with letting go in that experience? What else I would also suggest is, if you do orgasm on your own, but then not with your partner, your experience with your partner is going to look differently. So your arousal pattern, which is kind of like, let's say if you're masturbating on your own, you're used to getting to like a 2 out of 10 arousal at 30 seconds. And then at 5 minutes, you're used to being at about 6 out of 10, etc., etc. That's going to be very different when you're with your partner, because it's a different context. So I would encourage people to accept this new experience. And if they're finding themselves expecting a really similar pattern, I would encourage them to let go of that.
Yeah.
In terms of the vulnerability that I mentioned before, one great technique is to use kind of like a graded exposure approach. It's like a scientific word, but so imagine if you're masturbating in your room and you're concerned that your partner, if you're thinking about having an orgasm and you're concerned, about being too vulnerable with your partner, what you could do is try masturbating, and maybe your partner kind of like sits outside. So you achieve orgasm and it feels safe because they're not in the room, but they're nearby. Yeah. And graded exposure would be, so maybe they're sitting on the outside of the room, maybe the next time they're sitting on the inside of the room in the dark, so they can't see you. Maybe the next time they come next to the bed and that they're right there. Maybe the time after that, they're touching your leg, and slowly kind of building up that comfortability with the vulnerability. Yeah.
That's such an interesting approach to it, because I feel like it's definitely huge with young people who kind of have, I guess from what conversations I've had, a lot of nervous energy as well, and building that kind of friendship and relationship with people as well. Yeah. But that's a really interesting, I guess, approach to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, baby steps.
Yeah, one small step at a time.
Yeah, exactly.